Well, it's very bad weather, and we have a measly lot of people. But we might have some interesting things to say. Most of the people sitting here have been coming a long time, and they like to come. Not that they need to come. Actually, if I disappear, you'd just be fine. But it's camaraderie. Mm-hmm. It's nice to come together, but the weather is really bad. But let's see if we can make a discussion. So I'm going to sit here, and someone may want to say something they would have never otherwise said voluntarily, because sometimes I push for it. I can see a look on a person's face and start to talk to them, just like that one over there with a squeaky voice. Yes. So see if you can't squeak or speak a little better, and look at the childish voice you have.
Yeah, I've had it for
you
years.
Listen to yourself speak.
Yeah, I know. It's not quite my real voice, I don't think.
No, that is your present.
Yeah.
But you never grew out of the baby voice.
Yeah, I don't know. I have little memories of, being at home and maybe not being listened to, and so kind of, changing the tone of my voice that way. But I think there's some other issues. There's other issues with it. And
why have you stayed a little child? Why haven't you noticed yourself?
I do, but I do notice it. I do. But for some reason, it just... Say what?
It's a wonder you got married.
Yeah, I think
it is. You sound like a 3-year-old.
Oh, wow. That bad. Yeah, I guess it is.
But
I guess it was a blessing that I didn't deserve.
You see, what you do is you babble. And you don't know how to stop babbling.
Yeah. Well,
I'm asking you, since we had a little discussion at the door there, it's so clear that it's deleterious to your whole life. You can't go on like that.
Yeah.
So it's serious that you walk around like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Now the question is,
there is definitely something not right.
Let me tell you a little story. When I came to America, I didn't know I was speaking a little Cockney. See, how did I find that out? I can't hear my voice. I don't notice how I speak. But if I speak into a little record, in those days we had little records, you could put 25 cents in a slot machine, and a cardboard record is made for you. It doesn't last long. You send it home to Mama. And then she brought it back to me when she came on the Queen Mary to visit me. And she would go backwards and forwards. When she was with her son or sons, she missed her friends. When she went back to visit the friends, she missed her sons. And backwards and forward, and she dropped dead. Because she's lonely. My father died, but she dropped dead in a hotel, traveling with me and baby David. That's how long ago it is, 60 years ago at least. But she had sick headaches, and she would have those headaches, and I knew when I was 15 that those headaches were repressed anger, because deep down inside, she had hated God for taking her husband away. She was totally dependent on him. She had a love relationship. She was insecure. But my father was a very fine man. But she was too involved with him. So when he died, it was the kids, me. My brother wasn't very good to my mother. So I was good to both of them. But the point is, I couldn't speak to her. I tried when she had these terrible headaches. I could say, but Mom, you're angry. You're something angry inside you. I knew that when I was 14, 15. But all she did was focus on that pain, and then she dies. Well, she doesn't die there. She dies when I'm older and traveling in America with my wife. See, she could have lived a long time. My mother died at 54. My father died at 42. Of course, they're Jewish, and it could be directly related to Jewish food. That kills anybody. You can't stop eating it, and pretty soon it kills you. But couldn't get to her. At this minute, I cannot get to my wife. I've been married 64 years. And in that 64 years, she turned my kids against me. They sort of come out of it, but still there, while my back is turned. And so on and so forth. She hasn't changed. But she has a relationship with me like my mother. She doesn't realize she has a love-hate relationship. She hangs on to the past, but the love-hate relationship is not necessarily the past, it's just insecurity for some reason. And all you need to know is, well, all she needs to know is what causes that. And it's so easy to see where your corruption began. It's so easy. All you have to do is stop. I had a lady call the other day on my radio program, and she had a problem of people taking advantage of her. She didn't know how to do that. I said, it's so simple. Look at your mother. Was she a good person? No, she didn't say anything. She just kind of fizzled around it. I said, you have a love-hate relationship with a parent, and that somebody was cruel to you and then was kind to you and made you dependent on their approval. And the system works like this. Parent is cruel, or the parent is kind. And kind not for the welfare of the child, but kind for the need to be loved by the child. Children are not meant to be lovers of parents in that sense. In other words, they weren't born to look at mother and see what a wonderful person she is. And so therefore mother gets a sense, yes, there we go.
Well, I've heard you talk about that before, and I could see that with my father. He would be very cruel, and then immediately he'd turn really nice. And I think it was to confuse the people that he was being cruel to.
That's right, there's a name for that. I have forgot the name of that syndrome.
Oh, Stockholm syndrome?
Passive-aggressive.
Huh? Passive-aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Passive-aggressive. 1 minute, the person is nice, and the next minute, and guess what that is? That is willful game. Now, when I say willful, that you are willful, you may not realize. You think that will is yours. And it's powerful because it can confound anybody, especially a child, see? And so if you want something from the child, let's see if I can make an example. Hey, son, will you go to the store and get some milk for me? Okay, how she says it. I need some milk. Will you go down to the store? But if there's in the voice a demand, you understand what I mean? A pressure. The child rebels. Then the mother says it nicer. But the child senses that it's a pull. It's a seduction. Pretty please. See? But that doesn't have any power. It means I don't have to really go. She's not strong. All of a sudden, why haven't you gone down? But this time, I can't put anger in the voice. So if I put anger in my voice, I'll be gone. So I just have to imitate it the best way I can. But you know what it is when somebody has that bite to it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the love-hate thing. If love doesn't work to make you do as you're told, pretty please, dear, would you do this for me? See? Or bang. Just the opposite. Because if you're too nice, the tendency is not to want to do it, because mother isn't asking in the right way. And the other one is, but she's really trying to seduce without asking. To seduce, to make it think like it's your graciousness as the child, graciousness. It doesn't work that way. If you have a voice that can go both ways. See that? One of my favorite scenes in a movie is, I can describe it. It said it perfectly. I watched the scene played out, and it was so cleverly done that it was like real. So here's the picture. She's shaking the kid. Please don't hurt me, Mom. Please stop. You little swine, you little swine. All kinds of things. They did it better than I can imitate it. It was like real. Just imagine it. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the torment, she stops and says, there, Mother loves you. Guess what she's done? What do you think happened? Can you actually describe the procedure of complete control and the stealing of her freedom from mother? Can anybody see how that works? How metaphysically it works? How evil that is?
Well, it teaches you not to believe in your own perceptions, because you're perceiving the person as being mean, and then they immediately switch.
But that's too shallow. Thank you for it. That is true. And I thank you for the answer. It is true, but what is more true? You have to go deeper. You have to go deeper, because it's the depth of it that has the magic, the wicked magic over everything. It is the fact that the shock of cruelty causes the child to separate from his innocence. Bingo. To separate from it and be angry with mother, right? Mm-hmm. And then cry, please stop, I'll do anything. And then she gives in, and mother welcomes that. And then what happens? She nurtures with fake love what she did to take the real spirit away from the child. So she's nurturing what she put in with the anger. So she's completely lost when you don't understand that. Try to understand this love-hate relationship. What did you call it?
Passive-aggressive.
Passive-aggressive, yes. So watch out for the passive-aggressive, because people are like that. You must be very careful and watch. When I say watch, you only can watch if you are whole. Because when you're whole in your Creator, you have no emotions that can be activated. You can't be angry. You cannot be, because He takes your anger away. He takes the possibility of anybody making you angry away. It's not possible to make me angry. I can suffer. You can cut my hands off. You can fight me. You can torture me. I can feel the pain, but I won't hate the hurter. It doesn't help. The whole idea is to survive in this life, no matter what you have to go through. But never ever hate the hurter, because the hurter wants to take you away from God. Mm-hmm. And so you can't judge him and you can't hate him, because hate is judgment. Right? Mm-hmm. And then hate then turns to guilt. And then when you got the guilt, they come in and either kill you or just keep doing it to you or reward you for your subservience. And then you're done. And then people will do that to you your whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have made them...
That's you. You have been corrupted that way. You've never grown up. You've been absolutely overcome by parent, mother. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it wasn't her fault. It was it was the way I responded to her that caused me.
Listen.
It was the way I responded to her.
Shush. Give me a simple answer. Is that the case? Yes or no? Let's start with that rather than babble. Start with that, please. Yes or no? Was it your mother? Yes or no?
Yes.
And how did she treat you?
Isn't it immaterial if I'm to forgive her? Isn't it immaterial what she did or what she didn't do?
You haven't forgiven her because you...
No,
stop it. Don't you argue with me. Reason with me.
But can I speak
how
I feel? How I feel if I'm right or wrong? If I'm right or wrong, if I sit here...
If you want me...
Yes, sir.
If you want me to help you, answer the question.
Yes.
Don't run around it.
Yes.
That's what you're doing.
All right. Ask again, please.
You want to get better or not?
Yes.
Answer the question.
Ask the question again, please.
Was it your mother?
Yes.
What did she do? There you are. Out with it. Get it over and done with.
The thing that I remember the most that comes to my mind right now is I seem to remember being quite small. Perhaps I was 3, perhaps I was 4. There was a few people in the room, and my mother had me undressed, and I don't know.
Can you hear what she's saying? I can't. Yeah, stand up.
Anyway.
Oh, she's a big girl.
Yeah, anyway, I think I remember is, maybe I was 3, maybe I was 4, and there was some other people. We were at our house, and some other people in the room, maybe an aunt or two,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yes.
And my mother had me undress, and I don't remember if it was that day, but I remember other days she'd have my brother get on top of me. And I remember saying, I'm not an animal. Or thinking that.
You mean it's only one time? Is that all?
There was probably a few more than once, but...
I mean, what was the whole thing every day? It just isn't once. It's many times. Can you describe what it is? Is she nice 1 minute and mean the next? Or was she always...
Well, my mother...
Now let me finish. I'm asking a question.
Yeah.
You have to listen to the question.
Yes.
Was she mean 1 minute like we were, and then embracing, there, Mama loves you as you are? Or was she was seductive? She always nice and make you feel obligated to do things and reward you with a kiss, or was she really cruel all the time? So, now you got three things. You got love, you got passive aggressive,
when I was
you got passive and aggressive. Which one of the three?
Well, I mean, she did have the nature where she would be mean and then she would be nice, and so she did have that nature to her.
Well, she's
When she was a young mother, I mean, she was, I guess, evidently incredibly screwed up, and then she got religion, and the religion,
justified it.
well, it seemed hypocritical, and it seemed that she hid over her wrongs with it. But yet, I remember a time being upset with her at something that she done, but I remember quite clearly very much wanting to forgive her when I was very young. But I remember
That's good.
I couldn't. I didn't. I was afraid to, because I didn't want her to think she was okay. And that was
very interesting. Sit down now. That's an interesting, that makes sense. In other words, but you don't know how to forgive. See, the thing is, you had so much anger that you feel superior to your mother. At the same time, you felt guilty. In other words, she's wrong. Therefore, you are judging the wrong, and unconsciously, as a little child, above your mother. You are superior. It made you feel superior. My wife does the same thing. She hated her father. But at the same time, she felt superior to him in that judgment. Judgment makes you feel superior to the person, and then accompanied by guilt. Even in a little child. How old were you when you started to feel that way? When you did what you said you tried to forgive her.
I must have been 4 or 5.
Yes, you had.
And then there was other times. That wasn't the only time. There were other times I would feel the same way.
We need you. You don't want to sit all the way over there. Now, let me show you as a child that a child has those symptoms, and so that you grow up with them, and you can never get rid of them. My wife is always talking about the childhood she had, and she's never forgotten it, and she's projected on me. Now, I can't help her. I can't help a person who doesn't want to be helped. She loves the situation. She loves the feeling of loving me, see? And when I don't love her back, meaning I don't reward the love. You see, love, in its purest sense, doesn't want anything back. If I love you, I don't make you feel guilty to give the donation. You go away, it's free. If you want to give it, fine, I don't want to know. Got it? I don't have to have. But I want to make you give me something for me giving you something, even though it's appropriate for you to consider that, whoever you are, right? And many of you do this. I don't want to know it. I do need to stay on the air. That's a commercial a little bit, but it makes a point here. So even a child can have a love-hate relationship. And one minute she's angry with the mother because she is intuitive enough to see that she's losing her identity by sweetie pie stuff. Sweetie, would you do this? And sweetie, would you do less? And then she's rebelling, or she's conforming.
You're kind of reminding me of one thing, and maybe it's not a big deal, but I remember, maybe I was 10 or however old I was, and I'd help around the house. And I remember one particular time I was dusting, and Mom came and she said, "Thank you." And it really bugged me that she said thank you, because I felt, well, this is what I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. And it bothered me. Maybe it's not a big
That's
deal,
what-
but I
that-
just
that
remember
only shows you
it-
how sensitive she's made you. Because thank you could also be fake. It can also be the approval that you want. See? So you say thank you, but you don't mean it. Thank you, but you do mean it is freedom. Thank you when you don't mean it, when you, in other words, you've done what you've been told by your mama or anybody else. Oh, thank you. And so you're supposed to be appreciative of the thank you and pleased, but you're not, because you felt like it was, you know what I'm trying to say, don't you? It doesn't have to be said.
But
It's a reward.
I think once a parent has like captured you and taken away your freedom and everything, when they say thank you or they act kind to you, it's almost a reminder that they're the ones controlling you. Because I can remember my father doing that. Like he completely controlled me, and then he'd give me approval for doing some kind of house chores, and I
Right.
just hated him for that.
See that?
It's a reminder.
It's not unusual. So there's really no, if you look very carefully, that's where you find either cruel first or sweet first. See, because mother having her mother's identity and not her own, is missing something, missing love. See, so, or mother's cruel, but that still takes away your relationship with God, who is love for you in your innocent childhood.
I think that's interesting you just said that when we have the parent's identity, we're missing something, and that's kind of what makes us be looking for love all the time. Is that what you just said?
That's exactly right. In other words, as long as you have no the identity of your parent, and 99 and 9/10% men and women have the identity of their mothers. Unless a man is really a man and steps away from the system of paradise lost, which is, I can just make the statement, because you have done this thing, dust thou art, and to dust thou shalt return. And so shall a man leave his mother and father and become one with the woman. That means that women have the power over the child, the male child that's born. She has it over that, and the male child that's born is subject to the mother. And therefore the male child, rebellious or not. Rebellious, he means he's going to have his way with men, with little girls, okay? Rebellious, I'm going to get it if I want to, because it awakens the sexual impulse. Cruelty awakens, even a child at 5 can have a sexual feeling and masturbate because the only pleasure he can feel, because there's no happiness at home. But anger and temptation and anger, they're both the same. One begins with sweetness and light, but you can feel the pull. Remember the little girl, Maggie? Mm-hmm. She says, "Can I say no to my grandma? She wants to give me toys, I don't want it." Because she senses that something's wrong. She senses it, she's young. And kids have more intuition when they're small. When you grow older, you grow out of your intuition, you just become ordinary people and die. You just become a bunch of animals. The human race is a bunch of animals, but there's good people here. And the good people want to search for what's missing. But they have the problem, the reason why they're looking for something missing, because you've all got what I've said you got. It's a hate, completely without love, but lust. Because hate awakens the emotion. It awakens the emotion of the animals. And that's why Adam, he was naked. So as soon as he ate the fruit, he saw he was naked. What did he see? Oh my goodness, what's that? If you know what I mean. I don't mean to be rude. But he didn't know what it was. But he soon found out. Instinct will take the place of graciousness and timing. He became a lusty person. And in the lost books of the Bible, it talks about the agony of his sexual desires. Agony. The animal knows when to have reproduce. A rhino has sex once every 2 years or 3 years. Otherwise, you have millions or trillions of rhinoceroses. And then the herring will give 250,000 eggs. See, it depends upon the danger of its existence. See, survival. And God knows all the relativities to these creatures. How they relate to each other, how they reproduce each other, and how many there's needed. A chicken, you get about, God, how many? You get about 300 eggs a year, because somebody keeps eating them. So we pick that and we see. So go ahead. But human beings have to be governed by intuition, and intuition, when it's violated, is an animal. It awakens the animal, hunger. And women, in one way, are weaker than men. They are weaker than men, aren't they? If you put a strong woman and a strong man together, you know what's going to happen to that woman. She's not strong. She's not built for power, for fighting, but she's built for seduction. She brings the seduction of Eve that never was corrected, and produces a man that's subject to her, and he's going crazy trying to fix it, trying to look for love from her instead of God. Bang. See? Until you understand this, you're going to be born in sin. The next generation has the same thing. There's no difference. You either have a mother who tries to be nice to her husband, to her kids, because she's made up her mind, I'm going to be nice to my children, I'll be good to my husband, but she doesn't know what good is. She just gives herself, hoping to be loved. See? And emboldening the children, emboldening or manipulating the children to love her back, or rebelling. That's the only thing. There's rebellion and conformity. There's all there is to it. And they're both as sick as each other. See? Mm-hmm. Because rebellion gives the person a guilt. And they want to get a feeling, how would a man get a feeling to just abuse a woman without being married and get as much as he can and become addicted and then become a murderer? And pretty soon he's like ISIS. You hear often a couple of men or men kidnapping women and keeping them in prison and enjoying them because if you understand what I mean. See, I didn't want to go into too much detail. It's too sordid. Yes, go ahead.
I grew up with that, like everybody, with that sensitivity to the world, and my the way I dealt with it was I became like a people pleaser, like what we're talking about, and but I'm dealing a little bit with a passive aggressive person, and the way.
Is that your girlfriend?
No.
Is that
no.
lady friend?
No, it's a different person. But
what kind of relationship is it?
Well,
friend?
Not really a friend. Used to be a friend, but I had the relationship years ago. It was a business and a friend relationship, but now I'm living in a home where he's there. But the way I dealt with it back then was that I would take the abuse. I would take it. I would. I didn't stand up for myself because I
yield to it.
Yes, and I just took it, even though inside I knew it was wrong. But until that sensitivity, the salvation from that sensitivity, then I could actually deal with it properly. Because the passive aggressive is very. You wonder, how can the person be this way one moment, and the next moment it's like nothing ever happened. And it's
called treachery, isn't it? It
Yeah.
could be such lengths of love and all of a sudden such lengths of cruelty. And so you could be married to a man or a woman and therefore it will seem that are loving each other, and they're doing the right thing, or they're doing the right thing for the wrong reason.
Right.
And so when they feel that you're ripe, bang, all of a sudden there's not the same person there. And then
Right.
you don't have, what happened? It's been happening all along by you giving in, thinking you're loving, and when you're just ripe enough to say, so that you can't resist it, all of a sudden, bang, the cruelty.
Right.
Make my dinner. No. See?
Yes.
I got that right away when I got married. Within a few weeks, she wasn't making my dinner because she got pissed off with me for some reason. I don't know what it is.
But that game of trying to get you to be judgmental, it's a game that I think they don't see they're playing. It's a spirit
Or
in
you
them.
don't realize that you are weak.
Right.
See, that's the problem. If you realize you are weak, you stop for a minute. But you don't realize you're weak. You think you have the power to love the hell out of them. And if you go along, they'd appreciate you. No, you're only emboldening them to hurt you more.
Oh, that's right.
And it comes
Yeah.
a point where it becomes really obvious. And then you really are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then that person uses force and cruelty and intimidation, hiding your stuff. If she's a woman, she'd hide your stuff just to make you frustrated.
Right, but it's that frustration that's the key.
She
It's
keeps
that,
her order as her order, so you can't find what you need.
yeah.
And then she accuses you of accusing her, which she should accuse her. Where's my razor? Where's my pants? Where's this? What did you do with that? She moved it.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have seen that? Yes. I've done that. Done it.
Anita?
I think that we all have that in us where we unconsciously act like that.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
You're right on the money.
And something inside us maybe is doing that to us.
Yes, because you're not a strong man. You're not strong like a man. So you have to confound him, confuse him, see? And then upset him, and you own him. And you drive him mad. So a woman is a killer like that. Because that's what's in every woman. So how do you overcome it? I'm still alive, 64 years later, and she was losing her memory, 64. I still can't get to her. She throws a fit, she'll still throw a fit just on nothing. See, it will disappear and never reappear. Or put it somewhere, and one day you find it 6 months later. See?
That anger too, I know it was with me, it's not now, but it tricks people to think that it's their strength. They somehow think that this...
It's power.
Yeah.
It's a sense of power. When you get upset, they can be justified.
Yeah, it's...
You become their servant by pretending to be a servant and pretending to do something nice to you and moving something around or not doing it right. So one minute you think, oh, it's a nice meal. The next minute it's not a nice meal, or there isn't one. After a while, it may be okay, you have lots of food, and she's very, very gracious. All of a sudden, she stops being that way and then gets upset, for you complaining, for the dinner's not good.
Mm-hmm.
See, or the dinner's in time, it's 10 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. And all of a sudden, the minute you start to say it, you're accusing her.
Right.
It turns into an accusation.
Last night, I tried to correct my wife, and she called me a tyrant at the end of it. And I just see now how that your guilt, I feel guilty. Wait a minute, I don't want to be a tyrant. Am
But
I
you
really
feel,
being
no,
a tyrant?
stop there just for a second, if you don't mind. Okay, I'm okay. No, you stand up there, I'm still talking. We need to discuss. You feel like a tyrant. It's only because she's put in her feelings into your feelings. That's when you react to actually take her feelings about yourself. Her feelings is that way. But if she can put her feelings in you, then she's relieved of it temporarily, but guilt catches up. So she has to do it again. Because see that? Because she's done wrong. She's got a sense of worth of you being confused and her feeling superior just for a few minutes, for a few hours. But then the guilt of playing God, make it demoralizing you and punishing you for something you didn't do, or something you did do, or pretty soon you'll be doing it just to get even with it.
Or you believe you did it, but you didn't do it.
Yes. What we're dealing with is communism. If you want to put a name on it, if you know what I mean, put a name on it as a system to control the whole country. That's what you're getting. That is everywhere now. So you have nothing else but broken homes. All Obama had to do is make it glorify the woman and demoralize the boys and make the women more important, more intelligent, with more rights. You know the women have more rights than men?
Yeah.
Roy, so the spirit in the woman is communism that you're talking about?
Yeah, but the spirit in the woman,
that confuses the
because
man?
it's subtle.
That's communism.
The spirit of a man, when he's angry, is fascist. But women also could be fascists because they could take the nature of the man. And the man can take the nature of the female. And she can become, but the man in her is the fascist. But so she's a fascist, complicated. She's like a man, and she has power.
So it's like Stalin and
Violent.
Hitler. It's like Stalin and Hitler?
Yes, like her. So, and the man can take the female role and say, yes, dear, anything you say, dear. It's a game of power. That's what it is. And Hitler understood every single word. I understood everything he did, but the others, he took the anger of the Germans when they lost the war. So when he appeared, there was well, you have to have a barrel of money. You have to have 100,000 marks, and all the money you saved in your life couldn't buy an egg. So you have a lot of anger and frustration like you wouldn't believe over there. And people have angry, and he got up and he exploited the anger. But the only way you can exploit the anger is to fight a group of people who can't fight back. It's called Jews. Or whatever it is. In Rwanda, it was, I forget but black was on black, and there was 900,000 people murdered just for somebody ran, because one group was different from the other. You see?
Do you think that can happen in America?
It's, haven't I said, for 50, 55 years, you'll be looking at, I brought forward a book, what's this name of it, the bloody...
Coming bloody revolution in America.
The coming bloody revolution in America, it will be, where will it be?
News with Views.
News with
tomorrow
You.
night.
Yes, tomorrow night. News with You.
Shopping cart.
Or the shopping cart. Yes. I would get that if I were you, because that was a interview translated into written words. My warning in 1987, and exactly what's happening now. But I knew it in 1960, and I kept on talking about it the way I'm talking about it now. People didn't see it. I was helping people, of course. There were some that did. But now Americans are beginning to be shocked and awakened. You see now, you're divided, just like house is divided, and the kids are divided. One kid is loyal to the bitch, or son of bitch, right? Father. And therefore you have war. You have one gang leader and he has his own group, and you have another gang leader somewhere else in the big city, his group, and he gets power from those people, and the gang leader of the other one has power, and he nurtures them, and he praises their wickedness, their murderous inclination. And so they keep their war with each other. As nations, the same with nations. When the person in power begins to be discovered, like Obama, you're beginning to see what he is, a communist. You can see he's no damn good, that he's a appeaser. He will allow people's head to be cut off, knowing it, and walk away and play golf. That is to intimidate. That is the intimidation. And it's frustrating people. But some people love it because they're like that. And because they're like that, because they're broken people, they need the love of a person who loves their rottenness, whatever form it takes. He's a sweet, kind man, loving murderers. What do you expect? Or he's a sweet, kind man, rewarding people who please him and vote for him. Once he's screwed them, he owns them. He owns the whole country. Except we're beginning to wake up. But that's the bloody revolution that's coming. We're going to be fighting each other. And that's the reason why on my radio program I need to have more stations. If I had more stations, I know how to stop that. I know how to counter their minds. I know exactly what I do it on the radio. Do you hear me say it on the radio? Mm-hmm. I can kill your spirit if I want to. Hey, you with a face. Hey, did you get angry? Who got angry out there? I don't know who you are, but you got angry, right? Watch what happens to you. I've done to you what you had done to me, but different. I didn't do it. You did it to yourself, because the minute you heard me speak the truth, you hated me. But I didn't hate you, and I'm telling you I don't hate you now. But you hate me and you hate the light in me, it's going to kill you. Or, if you just take it easy and think about it and say, why am I angry with Roy? He hasn't said anything wrong, he's right. I'll get a friend. But I give you an out. I give you an out. But if you don't take the out, you die. You die 8 times faster. Okay.
Can I ask, because we're watching, for example, the protests at the Trump rally, and we see people that are so unreasonable, they want their point of view put across, but they don't want somebody else.
But that is the same as an unreasonable wife.
Oh, no, I agree.
It's the same as an unreasonable woman. No matter how truthful you are, he will spin it and be offended by it.
Oh, I can see that, but when we're not...
But here's this is very delicate, very delicate. If you hate me, secretly or openly, you will die 8 to 10 times more quickly with a disease, or die right away. Every one of I have in my business, Foundation of Human Understanding, I've had it in various forms as a nonprofit and then a church. So you go right back to the beginning in 1960, it was a nonprofit organization. It's not the same thing as a church, which is much higher, a 501c3. I've had 6 subordinate, what do they call it? I'm number 1. Who's number 2? Vice president. You could call it vice president, right? I didn't know what to call it because it's a non-profit organization. And every one of them, younger than me, are dead. Why? All betrayed me, secretly. I was always kind to them. I wasn't rude. But it's the resentment towards me because there's, if I may say so, God in me that makes me good. And they hated it. They were drawn to me, and they appeared to be, they faked it, or appeared to be in my early stage. I wouldn't be able to tell you which one that was, but they appeared to understand me, and but they're remembering me. They're remembering, they're not learning. My wife remembers but doesn't understand. So she uses it on me. Got it? So, but because of that, everyone is dead. Everyone died younger than me then. Now, for years, I've only been me. I don't have any vice presidents. I'm just me. And my kids have grown up, and some of them are on the board. But I had to have people who are vice presidents and things like that in those years. Right now, I have some of my kids on the board of directors. Not all, because they're not all are good enough. But the good ones, the ones that are strong, the ones that understand me. But the still is, when I die, they're not going to go on the air. You're going to be hearing me for the next 100 years.
That's good.
See that?
Yeah.
I have to say, David, if I may.
David, no. David,
No.
yes, I love him. He's very good, but he can't do what I do.
Can I make one comment, please?
Yes?
I was listening on the internet to one of the programs, and there was a fellow that he spoke up, and he says, well, what's more important? Is it more important to listen to Roy's tapes and programs, or is it more important to meditate? What's more important? And I loved your son's answer. He came back and said, listen to yourself, and that's finding your intuition and your inside. And I loved his answer. I thought it was great.
Until he learns how to, for example, I have a gift. You could have a gift of being a whole person and be a good surgeon or a good selling shoes. You could be a good person and be a God person and be happy where you are and slowly but surely evolve into something better. There's a beginning there. It is a journey. It's always a journey. But I have a gift from the day I was born. And David just really recently discovered it. He'd been angry most of his life. He got cancer. And eventually, I walked him through it, and it went away. I used to have a poor me because my wife wasn't exactly the perfect wife. And it's always turning the kids against me. So they have conflicts, each one of them compensating. One's very willful and very powerful in everything he does. And David was weak. And for a long time, he's been divorced and married again. Didn't take care of his kids. He's got new ones. That's not good. But he's a good person now. Things have changed. But he doesn't have what I have. See, give you an example, and I'm not saying this to put him down. He's now overcome his problem. His cancers went away. And the kind of cancers that shouldn't go away, because he used to go surfing in the sun. That's the kind of cancer it was. That doesn't normally go away. That's a very dangerous cancer. But he had lumps taken out of him until I said, watch the anger, watch it. And when he started to believe and trust in me, which took him a long time, he was 62 now, it took him just up to 60. He finally got it. Now he's clear, but he doesn't have the power to heal. That's what I need. Example, Friday night, there was a call 3 minutes or 4 minutes from the end of the program. A young lady calls and gives me her serious problem, anxiety and all the rest of it. I said, would you like to get better now? She says, yes. I have not heard you before. My friend called me. So she doesn't know anything about me. I said, do you like what I'm saying? Yes. Do you believe what I'm saying? Yes. Close your eyes. I'll do it. I'll show you how to find who you are. She closes her eyes. Very easy. She sees the pixels. She stands back. She finds the creator. As you're standing back, you're moving forward relatively. Relatively speaking, moving back is moving forward if there's something to move forward to, right? Did you feel the fingers tingle? Yes. Open your eyes. What happened to your anxiety? Gone. See? Now, all I need is, now I did in 3 minutes what I can't do to my wife in 64 years. Can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves. She still plays the game. And she's paying the price for it. I don't want to see a harm to her. However, it took me a long time to ask why people are dying. Because the vice presidents are all close to me, right? One of them had the nerve, Sharia Bernard, who was there's a person in Los Angeles, I just can't remember it, but it was, it's hard to say what it is now because it's such a long time. But it's a very important metaphysical person. But I can't remember the name of the metaphysical system. But it's right on the tip of my tongue, but it may come to me in just a minute. But it was yoga. It was yoga and a very important person who had a huge yoga organization. He was the right-hand man. His wife says, listen to Roy Masters. Sharia Bernard, I remember his name now. He was the next to the big guy, forgot his name. You'll remember it, you'll know it if you hear it. I can't remember it. He was next to him to be in charge of that whole organization. And he did more yoga than anybody else and still lived. That's what he says to me. He was a brilliant speaker, but he betrayed me. And so he betrayed me because I had a group in Hawaii. He went over there and turned them into students of his. It's okay, not a big deal. But he dies. And so I keep looking at why these people die. Because they hate the truth in me. They betrayed me. Wasn't it Judas that hung himself? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Same reason.
You said they learned you, so they sounded like they had what you had, but it was an intellectual version. And I see that happening on the political stage. Yes. Trump is a very intuitive man, and I see a lot of the people, even on Fox, they learned conservatism, but it's not really Correct. Deep. So Correct. He's calling all this out, and it's wonderful, because the truth is coming out in people that you wouldn't ever expect it to.
Isn't he somewhat like me?
Yes.
My wife says he's just like me. Yeah. I'm like him, more than where you look.
You both have lived a life of courage, and he's had, I'm sure, plenty of issues, but he has a real character of building a business, of employing people, and it's so much more than most of what the politicians that we see now.
One of my members of my family are his best friend, so I know about him. But I won't say whether you should elect him or not. I'm not allowed to say.
Right. And the people I was watching on the rally yesterday, and they were trying to shut him up, and he was dealing with it fine. Just get them out of here.
Punch him himself.
He said, get them out of here, but he wasn't mad. He said, come,
You got it. You're not going to intimidate him.
No, and he said he's going to press charges now if they keep this up because they're trying to shut him down, and it's not going to work.
They use the freedom of speech to shut down the other people's freedom.
That's right.
That's right.
But anyway, so this is what I want with you. What I want from David yet. He may, when he gets a little older, inherit. What it is an inheritance. Jesus inherited that, right? Who he was. And we have to adapt to who he was and appreciate it. That is the order of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when we love the truth in him, the truth lives in us too. Correct? That's very simple. But we're not him. See? And so, do I not speak truth clearly? Different from anybody you've ever heard before? But that's healing. Now, let me just say it again differently. If I speak to you, every single word flawless, correct? You can see every single word is not me speaking. I have a very bad memory. My memory is almost zero. You can catch me. See, I can't remember a lot of things. You know why? Because as I've grown older, I have seen the simplicity of things. So instead of being me glib, many years ago, I was a glib kid with very good English language and with a special way of expressing myself, with all the fancy language that everybody uses who have been educated. They begin to shrink. I don't use them anymore. I can say the same thing. I don't need all those extra words. I just need about 800 words basic English to say whatever. I haven't said any fancy words. I had to go to you for a fancy word, didn't I? For a vice president. I forgot that word. Does it mean to say I have a bad memory? No. I don't need memories. I don't need all those words. It gets in the way. Too many words get in the way. So I can do better with less. And you can hear it. When you listen to the candidates, and the one that's a lawyer, what's his name?
Ted Cruz.
Yes, brilliant, good person, absolutely good person. I'm not saying who it is, whether I'd vote for him or not, but he's a good person. He can explain the law. He can understand good with the expression of an attorney. But I can't hear him. I can hear him. I know all the words. I recognize every single word, what it means. But it isn't in my head. It's just a recognition of the words that is not necessary. I just want you, can you say it more simple? Can you put your heart into it? Because the heart that gives you the word is so pure that you don't need to embellish it. Do you see that? It's clear when you hear me. Have I spoken over the top of your head since you've been here? No. Did I use fancy words? No. The fancy words are not necessary unless because every business has its own words. You have thousands of words if you're a diamond cutter. You have thousands of extra words if you're a banker. I don't give a damn about all those words. Because there's hundreds of thousands of words. And every business, medicine has its own words. And gobbledygook. But the more words you have, the more unnecessary it is. Except you're in the business of that. I'm not in the business of words. I'm in the businesses of intuition. And intuition speaks and intuition listens. And it's simple. Correct?
Yes.
And it's healing. It isn't complicated. I see that. I see that. But you seeing it, the words change into reality. It changes into intuition. It awakens the intuition from within. In other words, I run a word, and instead of you listening and remembering a word which I don't want you to care for you to do, I want you to let it go through one ear, come out the other, and all of a sudden, I see that. Or maybe you don't see it this time, but next time you do. See? So we sit. And pretty soon, word comes into, it becomes, once you get it in your head, once you recognize, I see that. When you see it without eyes, with a different set of eyes, all of a sudden you have clarity. You have a second eye. You have a second light shining through your eyes onto that person who tries to approach you and doesn't hit it. So as he approaches as a bully or a cruel person wants to approach me and intimidate me, he's met by an invisible force. Because his invisible force is opposite to mine. His is cruelty, mine is love. Love, don't hate your enemy. He wants you to hate him so he can get to you. But if I don't get upset, he gets upset trying to upset me. And I'm not guilty of upsetting him, he's upsetting himself. Whoops-a-daisy. See?
Yeah.
Got the idea? Do you see how powerful it is just to be real? How powerful it is to say nothing? How powerful it is to say something? But just with a few words. I have the ability to share it. So if you have a question, I can give you an answer. You can say, oh, I see that. But the minute you see it, it's 1,000 times, 100,000 times compared with 100,000 books. One word. Understood. A couple of words put together. Understood. Coming from a good place. Not just words that you speak. The words have to come from a good place. So I don't ever have to sit and write my sermon every week that the stupid, preachers do. To me, it's boring. I walk out. You don't walk out of here. You walk out a better person. Is that right?
Yes, and that's the mistake so many of the churches make. They take the history of the Bible and they repeat it over and over and over, and it's like but what you're talking about is like a sort of Wi-Fi connection to God. So it's not data in your head.
I like the word of Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's a direct connection, and it's not the same stuff over. Like you put a program in a computer, it's over.
And what happens if you keep on trying to figure out what it is over and over and over, all you get is more imprinted with a stronger influence of those words.
Right.
The spoken word keeps talking to you, and the spoken word outside capitalizes on it.
Right. That's right. And they get you that way. Yeah.
So I'm 88 in how long? 2nd of April. I'm not looking for any birthday presents or cards, if you don't mind me saying so. Look at me. I was swimming in the ocean, or actually it was in the river, the water in front of my house. And then there was pollution, I didn't know. I got very ill. And my journey was through illness to find out how much doctors know. What? But I didn't know that was my purpose. Because all of a sudden, how your mind can keep you well, Roy Masters can't keep himself well. So I'll lose everybody. That's all right. I managed. I'm still here. See? I now have 90 stations, which I never had before. It's happening. It may happen that I may be able to have 1,000 stations. It can happen in a short period of time when people because millions and millions of people know me. Millions. I'm getting, bequests when people die to keep the program on the air. It's neat. I don't take a salary. I don't need it. I've saved a few houses, and I have income from that, just a little bit, enough to keep body and soul together. I won't take the money from the foundation because we don't have enough right now. But the point is that the stations are beginning to multiply and beginning to be relevant. And so if I could be on radio, say 1,000 stations, we almost had 1,000 stations, but Soros killed us by not, because he bought into or manipulated the people who, the rep firms, you know, they sell the commercials and then give us our share. They stopped giving our share. Biggest network in the country disappeared. See, but we still have 400 stations, and we're coming back. See, I never stopped trying. I started a magazine. We had 70,000 subscribers, and then the word came out that Christians did this to me. They made sure that everybody knew that I was a cult leader, and therefore we lost all our support. But the magazines were magnificent. You've seen them, I'm sure you've seen those magazines.
Yeah, excellent.
Just there's nothing like it. So, but still, I've been fighting that war by myself and with members of my family. But every time frustration, bang, it collapses, right? At the top of its pinnacle. Am I upset? No. Try again. Small people here today. We have thousands of people watching this program. That's why it has to be right. Quality. Quality hasn't been good lately. You can hardly hear me talk. Anyway. Oh, but this time we got it. We don't have any heads, do we? The last time there's everybody's heads bobbing up in front of me. And you could hardly hear me. I didn't understand how that happened. But anyway, where are we? Where are you? You are the one that needs to have the most help here. So calm down. What have you learned today? Just tell me what you discovered, not learned. What have you discovered? What has been enlightened? Just one thing. If I can have one thing. What have you seen is the beginning of your cure. It's the beginning of the journey of one step in front of the other, of becoming perfect like your Father in heaven is perfect. Just one more second. Jesus said, become perfect. All the things I can do, you can also do. That's what he said. So I can't raise the dead yet, because maybe I have to raise myself dead first, my own dead self first, or be resurrected in a sense, as he was. See that? But I do have a magnetic quality which I cannot explain. I do not feel. It has no feeling, but it radiates. And it radiates, especially when I'm in trial and tribulation, when I'm confronted of something that's difficult. It isn't anything. It becomes nothing. It just makes me stronger, but I don't feel stronger. But apparently I do become stronger, because my heart grew back. My prostate grew back. I mean, they took it out practically. I didn't even need the operations. It was misdiagnosis, one after the other. Hundreds of times. I don't know how many times. It's just a lot. I always recovered. And then I got sick again. And then I was recovered. And I got sick again. And all of a sudden, age 2, everything, every 80s, 88, all of a sudden I find myself a whole person. Everything grew back. Even if they took it out and took it to pieces. Why is that? It's my journey. I was a healthy guy until I was 50 and then swam in the ocean and got poisoned. And that poison was misunderstood and it resulted in operations and God knows what. Bypasses and everything. Everything got better. The bypasses failed. The prostate, it wasn't necessary. And they didn't tell me what else to do because I still couldn't go to the bathroom. And my bladder blew up and crushing my, I'm telling you the story, crushing my kidneys. So it looks like I was having a heart attack. I collapsed. I went to, he never showed me what to do. I was just blowing up. It still didn't work. It was blowing up. You don't want to, I'm going to give you men, be careful about your prostate. All you need, basically, is to eat right and overcome your constipation. Believe it or not, it puts pressure against the prostate. There's a very fine membrane between the two. See? And then it blocks up your ability to pass, you know what. I don't know where that came from, but you need to understand, you need to change your attitude and change your compulsion to have sex, because it also has effect. You're going to burn yourself out. All that comes from your blood. You're going to get old before your time. The excitement is dangerous because sexual excitement is like run and fight. You can't put up with that excitement too much. Otherwise the Grim Reaper will get you 3 o'clock in the morning. If you know what I mean by that. I don't know where, I go anywhere my mouth takes me. Any other questions? Now, back to you again. What have you, something simple, what have you understood, not learned? What have you understood about yourself? Because you keep repeating, I want to forgive my parent. That's what I keep picking up. I want to, and you're a little girl, and you want to forgive them.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean? You want to forgive them, but you can't.
Yeah, I do. I do want to forgive him, and there's times when I feel that I have.
No.
But then become unsure, and I think there's still something in there.
Listen to the language. I want you to forgive him, but the times. What was the word?
I said there's times when I feel that I have forgiven him, but then
it's
I don't
not
know.
clear.
There's still
It's
something
only
maybe
language.
there, but
No, it's only language. It's only language. She hasn't forgiven them. She hasn't let them go.
But I
She's still a little
so
girl.
badly want to.
No, you're still a little girl to your parent.
I want to forgive him.
No, you're a little girl to your parents still. Are they dead?
Oh, they're both gone.
There you are.
Yep, they're both
How old
gone.
are you?
My mother
How old are you?
Oh, I'm 54. I look older than I
You
am.
look like 80.
Oh yeah, I know. I've got gray hair, and I know. I look old.
Well, you can.
I know about 80, but I look older than 54.
You can get your health and beauty back. Right now, you're older than your time.
Yes, I know I am.
All that keeps reinforcing. See, as
I
times
so
I
bad
think-
want to forgive him, and I want to love him.
No, you cannot.
Even though I
No,
find myself praying to God and
Calm down. Screaming doesn't help.
oh, yeah.
Now you have to understand. You are not God. Now, do you know why Jesus was murdered? Because he forgave people. Who are you, they said, to forgive people? Only God can forgive. That's correct.
Yeah,
You can let it go,
yeah.
but you have to let go of your godship of judgment.
Yeah.
Do you judge people? Let me ask you, do you know what judgment is?
I've been kind of noticing myself.
Do you judge
Yes,
judge people now?
Yeah. I
Let me
think
ask you-
I think I still do. I've been noticing it, and sometimes I when I notice, I go,
But
Gee,
you
I
do-
think to myself, man, I'm mean.
See, no, your conversation with you is difficult.
I'm sorry.
No, it's difficult because you tend to scream and.
I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. You're not offending me. I'm just trying to correct you if you don't mind. Let me ask everyone a question here. How many people has judgment and are addicted to judgment, and to the point when there's nothing to judge, then you can actually imagine that somebody is doing something they're not doing. How many people? See, at least 3 in the front row, and they're all ladies. The gentleman won't admit it. See, you can actually have a person who didn't do anything wrong with you, but that bothers you. See, because when you judge, you're guilty. So how do you get rid of your guilt? You need to judge. But you have a necessary need to judge, otherwise you can have anxiety. Because the judgment takes it away for a minute. It gives you a high, which is the next low. So that's why the anxiety grows. So as the anxiety grows, you have to have a judgment, because something has to stimulate the judgment to make you forget what wrong you are, because the other person is projection of that wrong. So you can judge him. And you feel relief for a little bit. It's like a drug. But you can actually look to a person and think that he's just offended you. And you take that secret thing and judge him as if he had done that when you projected it on him, unknown to that person. How many people understand that now? There you are. There's the men. Now the men are joining you. Do you understand how sick that is? To take a person... Now you can see how little children get... Half the country got little kids broken. Half the country, at least. Because they use the children for that too. And the children can't fight back. And the person who's being judged... Now, I've been judged a lot. I'm sure I have, but they just drop dead. Or they become my friend. Or I can make them do what I want, and they're very happy to do it. So I make them my slave. I don't do it purposely. The way it works. So I don't care if you're a slave or you do it. It doesn't matter to me, as long as you do your job. You're working for me. It doesn't matter. But sooner or later, it gets frustrating, and then you get betrayal. And then you fire him. It's simple. I'll get it done anyway. Do you see the power of goodness? The power of goodness, you can't be touched. You touch everybody. Whether it will kill them or cure them, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. If you're dead, and you're my friend, I haven't lost anything, you're dead. And you kill yourself, basically. Basically, you kill yourself. You don't know how to deal with that. You keep looking at me and getting angry, looking at me and getting angry, but I never get angry back to justify it. You use up your energy. Then you turn your hostility on everybody else, and your life goes wrong.
May I say one more thing?
Yeah?
I remember when I was very young, again, maybe I
Good
was
Lord, it's
4.
been an hour and a half.
Maybe I was 4 or 5, I don't know, 3, I don't know how old I was. But I remember being very upset. I can't remember what it was that I was upset about, but I was very, very angry and very upset. And I remember going into my bedroom, or maybe even I was in the closet, and I was just bawling. And I told God,
Yeah,
I said, I was mad at God for giving me the parents that He gave me.
I understand that.
And
Can you drop that?
What's that?
See how silly that is?
Yeah.
You're blaming God?
I should
You're
be
blaming
grateful.
God for-
I should be great. My parents, they weren't all bad. I mean, they had what was in them that wasn't them.
That's right.
Yeah, and they weren't all
That's
bad.
good.
There was things I could look back and love them
Have a
for.
good cry. Have a good cry.
Yeah.
Now. Okay. That's all. You seem to have discovered something. And that will appear in the changing of your voice. You have to stop being a childlike person, and people will feel sorry for you. That's part of getting people to be sorry for you, or irritating people. One of the two, it works for you either way. It keeps everything going. You can't win. Change your voice. I was telling you something I never finished. I said I had this gramophone record, this phonograph record. Gramophone is English. Phonograph is American. Is it correct? I think so. Anyway, it was on a cardboard thing, so you can't hear it many times, and it's gone. So you send it home for 25 cents. So when she brought it back, I listened to myself. It was Cockney. It was a little bit Cockney. From that very day, immediately, I speak the way I speak now. Although I'm not so glib as I used to be. I speak good English. Not so? You know I'm coming from England. I've borrowed a few words. Like Grant's pass. Sometimes I say, pass, pass. And I'm ashamed of myself. I have terrible conflicts. Okay, we can all go home now. I think we had a very nice talk, and you did good today.
Thank you.
Yes, you did good, much better. So you come about next week, let me kick your butt again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking this morning. I was thinking, am I going to get kicked in the
You can
rear
get
again?
better.
That's what I
You
told.
can get better.
Yeah.
I can see my audience judging me. As I'm talking to you, that audience is judging me, a lot of them, because they don't understand how I work. If you pardon the expression, I have to piss you off first. Do you understand?
Yeah, one more thing. Last week, you'd said that I was full of hate, and I'd been watching, and before that for a long time, I noticed that I'm judgmental, and I noticed that, but I
Good.
never viewed it in those harsh terms that you put it to me, and
good.
I'm actually grateful that you did,
I see
because
that. I see that.
I at some point there, I got quiet and I saw that hate.
There you are. You got a blessing.
Yeah.
You have a blessing. And I was angry. No, I wasn't. I was strong. I overcome at that in her when she couldn't overcome it herself. That's why I say David is not quite like that yet. See that? So people need to listen to me for years because of those years of experience. That's all. And we need that right away, as quickly as possible. I don't need someone to go through education, because it's so important for the next few years to come that it becomes precise as I am precise. And because of the gift I have, he's having it too, but he needs a little more. That's all, a little bit more, because he tends to be very sharp. But that sharpness should go away sooner or later, and things become more simple. He's brilliant. My son, David, is brilliant, but he hasn't got the power to heal. He has power to heal himself now, or be healed from within, which is absolutely remarkable. But it took him many years and 2 marriages to get that point. He always says, poor me, poor me, poor me, for a long time. So he's just beginning to, but he's got years in front of him yet. And he will be part of the foundation if I die. And so, and Mark will also. Mark is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He's too brilliant. I mean, gets past himself sometimes. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming. We had a nice discussion. You did good. and I'm happy for you, if I may say so.
Thank you.
And I thought you brought some good points out, and you owned up to things. You owned up to that little part that makes you think somebody is irritating you, because you need to be irritated, but the person is not really irritating you. And that's a little game you play in your head.
Oh, I play that all the time.
Good, that's very good. And you too, you go those little games, judging people that don't even need to be judged, just because you need a high. It's the forgetfulness. The judgment is mine, so you have a judgment on your judgment. And that's what's dangerous. That's what the anxiety is all about. See? Thank you. God bless you. It's a nice group. The weather is bad, and the clocks, with time. I put my clock back, so I was 2 hours late. I hate you.
Weren't you 2 hours early?
Yeah, 2 hours.
Oh, my God.
I took it and put it back, so it made it 2 hours. I said, oh, it's 8 o'clock.
That's all right.
Thank you.